After a tough battle against various types of giants, Thor returns exhausted. In the late afternoon, he reaches a strait. The rough waves of the sea reflect his own unrest. He just wants to get to the other side quickly. A ferryman is already standing next to his boat on the other side. "Who are you?" Thor calls across the water. "What kind of guy is yelling across the water?" The ferryman replies. "Take me across, I'll pay you well. I have food in my basket, I'll give you herring and oatmeal," Thor offers. "Why are you in such a hurry? Your mother is dying, maybe you should be at home," the ferryman provokes. Thor laughs heartily. "How would you know that? I'm not just anyone, I own a lot of land and wealth." The ferryman sizes up Thor from head to toe. "You look more like a beggar than someone who talks of great wealth." "Enough talk! Row the boat over," Thor demands impatiently. "No, I was warned to only ferry honest people across. Who are you?" the ferryman insists on knowing. "I am Thor, son of Odin, and my wife is the beautiful Sif with the golden hair. Now you know who you are speaking to. And who are you?" Thor retorts. "My name is Harbart," the ferryman replies. Thor scrutinizes him closely, his thoughts racing. Could this Harbart actually be Odin, the master of disguises and deceptions? Thor recalls that he has caused Odin inconvenience in the past. A trick would be entirely possible for him. "So, Harbart, are you hiding your true name because you have something to conceal?" Thor asks suspiciously. "If I were to pick a fight with someone, I surely wouldn't choose someone like you. My life would be at risk," the ferryman retorts mockingly. Thor becomes angry. "If I wade through this strait, my provisions will be ruined. You'll pay for your insolent words as soon as I get across. Then come on over. You won't find a tougher opponent than me since you defeated Hrungnir," the ferryman challenges. "Ah, you know the story of how I defeated Hrungnir, the honorable giant with the stone head?" Thor notes. Thor recalls his famous victory over Hrungnir, and his anger subsides. "So, Harbart, what have you been up to in the meantime?" "I spent 5 winters on the island of Allgreen," the ferryman boasts. "There, I was a prudent leader. We repelled enemies and tried many things, including women." "How exactly did you try out the women?" Thor asks curiously. "Ah, the women were wild and passionate, but hard to tame," Odin explains. "They were so foolish as to spin ropes out of sand and dig an already deep valley even deeper. But I was smarter than them all. I seduced 7 sisters in a single night and enjoyed their affection," Harbart boasts. "And what were you doing in the meantime, Thor?" Thor hesitates for a moment, as if weighing the ferryman's bragging. "I defeated Geirrod, the treacherous giant. He wanted to kill the protectors of Asgard and Midgard. And in the meantime, I've been stealing young witches away from their men. Did you enjoy that?" "Very much so. I stole a powerful giant's magical ring and robbed him of all his knowledge." "So that's how you repay him for his generosity?" Thor exclaims. "Everyone must think of themselves first. When you cut a branch off an oak, another grows back stronger," Harbart replies. "And what were you doing in the meantime?" Harbart asks again. "I fought in the east and took many daughters away from the giants. If all the giants were to survive, they would soon become too powerful and threaten Midgard, and eventually Asgard," Thor replies. "And what have you been doing, Harbart?" "I was in a land that consists only of battlefields. I've been fomenting wars between kings and destroying any peace," Harbart answers. "That's right. The servants who fall on the battlefields belong to me. But the fallen kings and heroes, they go to Odin in Valhalla," Harbart adds. "If you were as powerful as you claim, you wouldn't distribute the fallen so unjustly," Thor exclaims. "Thor, you may be strong, but you lack courage," mocks Harbart, who is actually Odin. "You'll let a giant stuff you into his glove. Out of fear, you will no longer be the Thor you once were." Thor becomes angry and screams so loudly that the waves in the strait rise higher. "You scoundrel! If I could make it across this strait, I'd send you straight to hell. Odin acts unimpressed. Why so angry? We're not even fighting. What have you been doing in the meantime? In his anger, Thor can only stammer. And you, Harbert, what have you been doing? I was in the East, brags Harbart. Enjoying myself with women. I seduced one, charmed another with her white skin, and had my pleasure with a golden beauty. Thor is impressed. You seem to be a true master of seduction. You could have been very helpful in conquering the White Lady. I would have gladly helped you, says Thor. Can I trust you, or are you deceiving me? I'm no more useless than a shoe dried out in the heat, replies Harbart. And what have you been doing in the meantime? Asks the ferryman Thor, who is still waiting at the strait with his basket on his back for the crossing. On the island of Lasu, I fought berserker women, reports Thor. What a shame to fight women, exclaims Odin. These were no ordinary women, defends Thor. They had destroyed everything on the island and demolished my ship that I had placed on land. They drove away my companion Thialfi and attacked with iron rods. I had no choice but to throw my hammer Mjolnir. And what have you been doing in the meantime, Harbart? Asks Thor. I come from an army advancing against this area. Do you see the warships in the wind? Their weapons will soon be soaked in blood, answers Harbart. You're only here to devastate this area at the strait, Thor retorts indignantly. As penance, I give you a ring, mocks Odin, forming a ring with his fingers. Now we are reconciled again. This false reconciliation sends Thor into blind rage. I will shut your mouth as soon as I get through the water. You will howl louder than a wolf when I hit you with my hammer. Instead of running your mouth, you should better take care of your wife. I have fathered a child with your beautiful Sif, your stepson Ullr. Didn't you know? Replies Odin. Thor angrily takes his basket off his back, sets it on the ground, and reaches for Mjolnir. He would be ready to throw the hammer at the ferryman if he didn't suspect that this man is actually a god. If you could change your shape, you would be quickly across, the ferryman continues to provoke. Thor, who neither has the ability to change his shape nor to perform magic, remains silent for a few moments. Finally, he says composedly, Harbart, what's the point of this argument? Row the boat over already. I never thought a mere ferryman could hold up the great Thor. The ferryman mocks, savoring his triumph. I just wanted to test what kind of cunning rogue you are, says Thor, and laughs loudly. Leave the strait. A ragamuffin like you would only dirty my boat, the ferryman retorts, pointing to the path along the strait.